Hello dear friends, welcome to another video of mine. So today I will be talking about the lessons, about my thoughts and opinion on Sunday's match involving Southampton and Manchester United. So being a Manchester United fan lately, it has been a good time to follow United, especially, well, we can say apart the match of against PSV. United has played really well against Liverpool and especially against Southampton, a team that likes to play total football, that is pressing football. They press a lot, they press well, and they have quick footballers, quick players and strong players like Pele and Mane. So United, from my part, played really well. We have to take into consideration whenever we are building something, a project or anything else, about the process itself, not only the results. Sure, the results are important, but at that level, at that time, at the point in time, the process is as important as the result. Therefore, you have some fans who are not who do not agree with certain philosophies that the manager has, or they do not want, they do not care about the process, they just want results. But there is no way you get results without the process. There is no way you get a good result without a good performance. Therefore, let's come back to the match itself. From my perspective, watching the game, I believe United was super exciting to watch. They not only played the passing game, they played really well in terms of possession and positional play, especially when concerned in terms of defense. Sure, we conceded 2 goals, especially from the left, with Sadio Mane being a constant threat. But the issue was really with, you can say, first Rojo, who I believe in his first match will of course have those rustiness. And then you have Paddy McNair, who is not a left back, so therefore definitely they will be doing mistakes at that level, so it's unstable. But the way United has control the match, have controlled all part and every aspect of the match, has been super interesting. And let's not forget one very interesting aspect as well, and that is the counter-attacks. When looking at the stats, I found United having 4 counter-attacks to Southampton having none. This was very interesting, given the fact that lately United have not been have not played counter-attacks. They have more or less focus on positional play or possession football. Therefore, it's good to hear. But the most remarkable thing I found United playing, and this is something I love playing, especially with teams knowing how to play that. I believe Bayern Leverkusen does play a variation of this to a certain level. Of course, United did throw the ball high. In a way, Anthony Martial can press the defenders, and when he does that, he does not need to go and challenge them. He just needs to press them so that the defenders, they put the ball hurriedly in a way that Manchester United midfielders can get the ball. And given the fact that they already have bypassed most of Southampton defense, they can quickly attack the goal. And this is what made me more interested with the game. From my perspective, from what I remember of the match, United did it no less than 10 times, and each and every time, even though we did not get the ball all the time, United looked far more ferocious, especially with the ball going to Memphis, and he continued with the attack. However, Memphis' performance itself was not bad. He was good, but I believe I saw him being tired throughout the second half. I didn't get to see the first half completely. I missed, I think, 10 to 15 minutes or so. But from the second half, you could see that Memphis was getting more and more tired, and I don't know why Louis van Gaal persisted with him, but I believe having played young would not have been bad. But I also think that Memphis need more game time in order to impress himself, in order to learn more about the Premier League and mark his words. I mean, mark how the game goes and get more experience. And on the other side, by contrast, Martial played a more exciting game, especially given the fact that if you take into consideration it was his third game for United and second game in the Premier League. He started really well from the time I watched the game, and the most impressive thing I felt about him was his ability to drift to the wings and then carry the ball to the center. By drifting to the wings, he added a superiority to a particular wing that might be to the right or left, and this made already Southampton defenders not really know. They got confused by his mere presence and they didn't know what to advance more upon that. And I felt this was very interesting, even the fact that without playing, I mean, Martial was playing the number 9 role, but he did not stuck to this role, therefore the defenders were quite confused. It was just like Barcelona did with Lionel Messi at the time, and I felt the same thing happening over and over again. And perhaps being something natural to Anthony Martial, maybe Louis van Gaal did not tell him anything of that respect, and that's pretty good, because doing that will actually be bringing a superiority to our midfield, not only midfield but especially in the wing, and then the opposite attacking midfielder can get more space to do more damage, and that is very, very interesting from my part. And continuing on the good performance, I believe Wayne Rooney played well in his number 10 role. However, sometimes he was quite deceiving, especially losing the ball unnecessarily and not being too confident in his approach. But his physicality, the way he ran all the pitch, made a difference, especially in terms of pressing. A lot of times he pressed his opponents, playing more or less the same area of the field. Oriol Romeo, it's tough to pronounce his name, Romeo, and he did it quite well. That the latter could not distribute the ball like he usually did, and I think that is very, very important, because one of the critical part of total football is not enabling the opponent to play their football. Once you can do that, it's fun. But like I repeat, the most impressive part was the direct attacks. You just throw the ball in the direction of Martial. You don't even need to collect it. You just need to press the defenders and the ball goes to our midfielders. We have already covered around 50 to 60% of the field. Therefore we can just attack directly with speed, with pace. This is where you get fast players like Memphis making a difference. Fast players like, of course I'm not discrediting the purpose, the usefulness of Juan Mata. Juan Mata played really, really well. I mean, the man is super effective. Well, whenever he plays, you might be sure that somewhere, somehow he will get an assist or even score a goal. And this is what he actually made. Juan Mata played really well, and the fact that Martial came on his wing a lot of time gave him more freedom to express himself, and especially in his best creative terms, which I believe is really priceless, invaluable. That is the reason even Mata is a diminutive midfielder lacking strength and speed, he's mostly always playing. This is because of his technicality and effectiveness in front of the goal. He's a very good player, and there's absolutely no reason to put him on the bench. He's actually one of the most effective Manchester United players. Not only Manchester United, but when you compare in the Premier League, he's one of the most stunning players. Therefore, Mata, I believe, should keep his place from a long time now, and he really gets injured, by the way. With such effective player, United will eventually challenge for the title. However, right now we are still building up, like Luis Van Gaal said. And but I believe if United continue with the mixture of positional play, of position play, that is the passing game, and the directness, United will go really far ahead. And yeah, coming to another important aspect of total football is the passing game. Well, a lot of time United, I think it's the benefits, it's quite interesting seeing United playing with two pivotal midfielders, that is basically two defensive midfielders, because United can hold possession for longer. So many times we have the ball, we could recycle possession, and Southampton players could barely remove the ball from us. When only we lost the ball through our attack, then they got the ball, and then we press quickly. And coming to pressing, there are basically two types of pressing. There is the zonal press and there is the main press. I'm talking in terms of abstract, of course, it's much more elaborate. But whenever you lose the ball, you can go on the player and you can actually mark other players in the area. That is man marking. However, I believe a most effective way, especially if you consider the total football aspect, will be the zonal marking. Why total football? Because total football always seek to diminish, to reduce the amount of running a player has to do, to diminish the amount of effort a player has to do. Rather, he starts thinking in terms of his position. Therefore, instead of simply running and pressing players like Barcelona did, which actually use a mixture of both strategies, United on Sunday press zones, key points and zone, especially the three midfielders and the advanced one, that is Wayne Rooney. They press areas where the result was very interesting when they did that. Southampton could barely counter-attack because having pressed those key positions, they had to recycle position. They could not just go right in front, because not only their players were not really marked, but those areas were marked, and you had perhaps two players in a single area whenever Southampton were in a specific wing. For example, you get Memphis, who lost the ball, you get Mane, who counter-attack immediately, but he is on the right hand side. Therefore, United just press more spaces on the right hand side. Therefore, he cannot pass directly, for example, to Pele. He has to recycle position, he has to put back the ball to his midfielder, who will switch to the other wing, and then they will be able to continue their counter-attack. However, by this time it's too late. United achieved two things with that. They delayed the opponent counter-attacks, and at the same time did not lose energy indulging into gegenpressing. So far right now, I've not really seen United, perhaps last season it was more of the case, but this season I haven't yet seen United going full-fledged into gegenpressing. Gegenpressing means basically when one of your players lose the ball, every other player in the who are near, they press equally. And this is actually quite dangerous if you know how to make it work, but you cannot use it a lot because it's very tiring. And if you are playing against teams that can pass the ball quickly, who know how to use angles to just ship the ball around quickly, you're in for a run. That's the biggest disadvantage of gegenpressing. And it's not difficult to do that. Once you get the ball, you just need to go into 1-2s. For instance, let's assume that United is playing against Southampton, and Pele has the ball. Pele just lost the ball, who that went to Dale Blind. Blind, when he got the ball, immediately Southampton will indulge into gegenpressing, counter pressing. They will immediately press. And what actually Blind has to do, he does not even has to like try to get an excellent pass or anything like that. He just needs to pass the ball to someone near us who is safest, like for instance Rojo to the left. He just passed the ball, and then he just changed his angle in a way that there are lines in football. There are little vertical lines, which basically means the position of the players. For example, you get the 4 back, the 4 midfielders, and things like that. What Blind does, he just goes and take the previous line. That is the line for basically what you can call the quarterback. Just take that, and Roger passes the ball to him. At that very moment, Mane and even other players will try to block space with perhaps Mane going immediately on the player himself with the ball. But the player himself, then he does not need to shoot the ball or try another difficult pass. He just needs to give the ball in front to Rojo, who at the same time Rojo changes his position. You just need to change his position a bit in a way that the others do not get the ball. And once you get the ball, he wait for a minute. For me it's too late. He wait for a moment, and from that, depending on the level of pressing, he gives back the ball to Blind. Right? They just do the 1-2s and moving space quickly, so that whenever the pressing happens, those Southampton players leave a huge gap behind, and with a simple pass you can bypass this counter press completely and counter at this time. And this is what I found super effective with the aspect of 1-2 passing. And lately United has been playing this quite well, and you don't need to even rush the ball when you do that. Simple 1-2, one player presses you, just 1-2, just move out of his position, and at the same time you get the time to look forward who are the players who are free, and you just pass the ball. Anyways guys, hope this was an interesting video, and looking forward to Manchester United next match. Ciao.